Hey guys, welcome back to Horton's Flower Farm. So on today's episode, we're going to be discussing with you the cost of starting a flower farm. I have everything laid out, everything we bought, so by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how much it costs to start a flower farm from scratch and everything that's involved. So stick around to the end when we tally it up. So Jeff, I guess we'll start right from the beginning. So we were on a half an acre and we started completely from scratch. So there was nothing there. So if you're thinking of starting a flower farm, this video is perfect for you because you're gonna know all the things that you need to. So what was the first thing we needed when we started?
The very first thing was dirt. We had a lot of dirt. We were told that hadn't been farmed in quite a while and needed some new organic matter.
Right,
added.
so we wanted to add some more. Now, if you're on a budget and you don't want to add the dirt, your flowers might not do as well, but we decided that that would be best for us. So
we needed the dirt, we also needed the dirt spread. So we didn't have the equipment for that.
So we say dirt, but it was called compost.
Yeah.
So we had like 2 giant truckloads dumped in. That cost us $1,000 for the dirt to be delivered, and they spread it too.
It did.
Because we didn't have the machinery. If you have the machinery, it'd go much easier. Maybe not easier, it'd be a lot more work for you guys. We didn't have to do that part because we paid them to do that. So that was worth it for us. I think the dirt without the spreading would have been how much?
Maybe 600, 650.
Yeah, so they spread it, maybe the labor on it was like, what, 400?
Yeah, about 4 hours worth of work with 2 machines.
So yeah, if you're gonna do it yourself, you could probably save $400 there. But if you wanted spread, it was $1,000. So once that was laid, the dirt, the next thing we needed to do was put down the drip tape. And that's where Jeff comes in, because I said, you're gonna plan this whole thing out. I'm leaving the drip tape to you.
Yeah, so I just did a bunch of research and we looked up some drip tape and there's certain different flow rates you can have. There's a low flow, medium, and then faster. Depends on where you are and what you need it for. So we went ahead and just did some battery operated timers connected to this poly piping, this feed pipe, and then we just fed per row. The rows are what, 4 feet each?
Yeah, so we tilled them 4 feet each. Some people do 3. So on that kind of spacing, we needed how many? 3.
We did 3 lines of tape.
Some people do 2, but we decided to do 3.
Yeah, we had 3 lines per row, so we measured out, the length of the rows times 3, and we multiplied that times 7 rows, was it? In this case. So 21 times the length of the rows, 100-foot rows.
Yeah.
So it's 2,100 feet of drip tape is what we invested in.
Right, so we were 7 100-foot rows, and yeah, so that's how we did it. And that we had spacing in between our rows because it's a U-pick flower farm, so we put about 4 feet in between. You can put those rows tighter if you're not a U-pick. You probably could put just a foot or 2, depending on how the flowers branch out. So you could probably utilize the land better if it's not a U-pick and put, but then again, you'd probably need a little bit more drip tape to cover it. But yeah, so that's what we needed. The drip tape cost was
$1,500.
Was $1,500 for the drip tape, and that was for the drip tape, the
timers, the feed, all the hardware. We do a whole video on just irrigation, I guess.
Yeah, we can do, because that was an intense thing. So, and that you really kind of need help with figuring it out. But who you called was great. We told them what we were doing. Was it
DripWorks and Irrigation King? I spent a couple hours on the phone between the two. I think I chose DripWorks, and they guided me through the little pieces that I would not have known. Just an amazing experience. DripWorks and Irrigation King, both are really good. The DripWorks came through and put the whole order together for me and shipped it all out. It was kind of more effortless than it certainly could have been had I done it myself via YouTube.
But then we did lay it down ourselves. But that's a whole nother video. So that cost was $1,500. Okay, so I wanted a white picket fence just for the entranceway when you come in. Well, actually, I wanted a white picket fence the whole way, because who doesn't want more white picket fence? But as you maybe know, things are expensive. So if I was gonna put, I only put 40 feet of fencing, just as the entranceway was still $1,000. I wanted to run it probably quadruple that, just for the whole thing. It would have cost $4,000. It was a lot. So this is just like a bonus cost, because I wanted to make it pretty. It was $1,000 for me. I put a little white picket fence that you don't need, but for me, as a U-pick flower farm, I needed a cute little entranceway. So that was an expense for me.
We installed that ourselves too, by the way.
Yes, otherwise it would have been, good point, it would have been a lot more for the installation. We rented to make the holes in the ground to put the cement from Home Depot. I think only like $50 for the day.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, $75 $75, and it was a two-man
Auger, a two-man auger.
And I had a buddy with me. And by the way, I wasn't handy going into this project. I just started learning, and had a few handy friends teach me, and I took it from there. Saved us thousands of dollars just doing things like these things.
Yeah, like YouTube is definitely helpful to learn how to do things like that. So we bought some cement for that, rented the auger, so that cost probably $1,000 for that fence. All right, so we needed also a tree removed on the property. It cost us $600. It was running right up the entranceway where people were going to drive up. We couldn't do that ourselves, so that was a big expense for us. You might not need a tree removed from your property. That was one of our expenses. Everything seems more simple when you walk onto a property. You think you're just going to put down seeds and water it, and you think it's just going to go, but that's really not the cost of starting a business. That's a dream. So here's the rest of what we paid. So next was the dirt. So the seeds. So I spent, for ordering the seeds, this was definitely necessary. Cost was $300 for seeds. And I actually overbought on the seeds for $300. I probably could have spent less. So I'd recommend that you really just only buy 20% more of what you think you're gonna put down, and go by the spacing on the back. So the seeds were $300. We needed deer fencing, and deer fencing could be quite expensive if you're gonna put a traditional, it has to be 8 feet tall because they can jump over 6 feet. So that deer fence, I think when we priced it out, was gonna be, I don't know, very expensive, maybe $3,000 or $4,000 to cover that half of an acre. So I researched on YouTube to see if there was a better option. There is mesh fencing that is cheaper to do, but this option that I found, and I'll put a picture of the deer fence that we used as I'm talking about this, is a 3D deer fence, and it was T-post, so we needed T-post to do it. They were, I think, 6-foot T-posts, and you need an outer T-post of 4 feet, and you put the wire string at 2 feet and 4 feet, and an outer string at 2 feet, and that's supposed to be like an optical illusion. The deer don't want to jump it. So for me, that was much cheaper. That only cost $1,000, but only. I would not think it would cost that much, $1,000, but you need it because otherwise they're going to eat all your flowers. So that was $1,000 cost, but it was much cheaper option than the other options. Okay, so the next one was
the gate to the entrance. We had to put up a cattle gate. It wasn't that expensive. It's a big gray 12-foot cattle gate, and it's something that Tractor Supply by us had. So we picked it up, fit out the truck bed. At the time we had a pickup truck. That was very helpful. And we brought it over, and again, we actually manually dug those holes, only 2 holes. And that was it. Cement, put the post in, leveled it.
That was $400.
Yeah, that was it.
But it's important because you need to protect your property if it's a business. So if you're running this as a business, you have to have a gate there. So that was the next expense. Let's see. One other expense was T-posts. You're going to find that you need so many T-posts for so many different things.
Oh, yeah.
This was T-posts for the flowers, for netting to hold them up. So some of the flowers needed to be supported. So I spent $300 on T-posts. Let's see. We also needed cattle fencing around. We had a seating area, and I'll post pictures of that too. We wanted it fenced in, and again, fencing is so expensive. If we were going to fence in the area that I'm showing you now, it would have been crazy expensive. So we said, you know what, the cattle fence unrolls, it's not that expensive. So we again used T-posts again and put the cattle fencing around, and
it was zip ties.
With zip ties, yeah, really simple. So we zip tied the cattle fence to the T-post, and that cost us $500. Again, another expense. All these couple $100 expenses add up, and you'll see at the end. The lawnmower, which you might have, but we didn't have one to that kind of area. We needed a bigger lawnmower. So
picked up a used ride-on lawnmower. We have a John Deere now. But at the time, we picked up some other off-brand one. It was fine.
From
it worked.
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I think it was $600.
It was.
And then we had the other traditional push mower we needed just to do the little touch-up work between the rows. So the ride-on was very helpful for the big area.
Right.
And then the push one was essential too.
So $800 for the ride-on was $600, I think, and $200 for a push mower, just so we could have it at the location. And we have a lawnmower at our home property, but this was for the business, and we needed it separate. We weren't going to take them back and forth. So that was the lawnmower expense. We found that as we were getting everything ready, we needed a shed somewhere to protect the tools and everything we have. So we got a shed from Home Depot or Lowe's, and we didn't put it up ourselves, so it was an added expense. I think the shed was only $800, but then we spent $1,200 for someone to put together because we didn't have time to do it ourselves. We needed it done quick. They came with like a 3-man team.
Took them a whole day and a half.
Was it 10 by 12 or 12?
Yeah,
10 by 12. And they put like the nice foundation into it so that nothing rots. So we definitely need that to protect all our stuff as a shed. So there's another it was $2,000, right? $2,000 expense. So cha-ching, it keeps adding up. Okay, so tables and chairs. So for us, it was, we need an area for customers to sit. I didn't want to spend money on brand new things, so I went onto Facebook Marketplace again, and actually some like estate sales to find tables and chairs that people are selling like they were moving from their backyard. So that cost me $500 for table, chairs, and umbrellas, which actually isn't that bad. I'll show a picture because I have a couple different sets. I also bought like spools, like wooden spools, used for like electrical wire, and I found those for, I think, actually one guy was selling them for like $20. We rented a truck from Home Depot to get 4 of them out there, so it cost like maybe $150, so not bad. So so that was that. Oh, you want to see that one, the playground?
I think that's essential.
That was actually the first thing we put in was a playground.
Yeah.
So why we put in a playground? Well, we put in a playground because we wanted somewhere for our kids to play at our farm while we were working, because we figured they need something to do. So I don't know if we mentioned this in another video, we're an hour away from our farm. So this was going to be You Pick Flower Farm. So we're like, let's put a playground there for the kids to play, for other kids to play. And it was a great investment. We bought it pre-owned, again on Facebook Marketplace. Yep. It was maybe $500. It was $500. It was $500 the set. But then to get it taken apart and delivered, it was another, I think he charged $600 or $800 to disassemble it, ship it, drive it an hour, and then reassemble it was $800.
Yep.
So $1,200. But it was like, you know, if you buy one of those sets new now, you're going to pay $6,000. So it was a worthwhile investment. The kids love playing on it. So that's that one. Okay. Now all the little kind of things like scissors, buckets, what else was on there? Stickers, just investing in like the things needed for the business. It was like $80 to $100 for buckets and scissors, stickers for the little, my logo was $50. So just little things here and there. They just keep adding up and adding up, you'll see. And fertilizer is the next one. So what fertilizer did we use? Which we're gonna change next year, but that's on another video. But how much was the fertilizer for the 1 year?
We invested probably $200-300 for the year.
For half an acre.
Yeah, and you know, that's just a liquid fertilizer. We did the injector, you know, this idea where you pour some into the injector and it goes into the line. So that was one of the recommendations we got from a fellow farmer, and it worked out pretty well. But we ended up needing a bigger bucket for the inject, you know, the bucket to hold the water and the fertilizer when we expanded our farm.
And that was once a week.
Yeah.
That we would put the fertilizer in. And then we dug up a lot of tree stumps on the property because it was like abandoned land, and there were all these dangerous tree stumps that were just everywhere. And I was tripping on them. It was a hazard. I couldn't have people on the property. So the tree stumps need to be removed. So we rented another tool from Home Depot.
Tree stump grinder, you know, and you just go out, you know, each one requires maybe 5 or 10 minutes, I suppose, at least. Or at least 100, had to be 80
There
or
was
something.
a lot.
And but then we underestimated the fact there'd be giant holes in the ground.
Yeah, once they were gone, we were like, oh, well, they just dug up giant holes. So now we had to fill it in with
4
dirt.
feet wide, 3 feet wide, so we had like thousands of bags of 50, 60,
It was a
100
lot.
bags of dirt.
And we were doing this in the heat.
Yeah.
It was like end of June, beginning of July. But yeah, so that cost us, how much was that?
I'd say 800 in total.
I know, and you know, so those are things you don't think about. Like, you would never think I have to dig up holes and fill with dirt for $1,000. Now, if you're not doing it as a business and people are coming on the property, you still might want to do this because you'll probably trip over it yourself.
Right.
But another big investment for us.
Just put cones. If it's just you can put cones or something.
That's true.
But when people are there, we knew this public was coming in. So.
And still, we missed like 2 of them, and I'm like, oh gosh, when I walk around I'm like, we're still tripping on 2 of them, but they're not that bad. Okay, so let's see, tools, shovels, gloves, just miscellaneous, another $300 there. We needed an edger, $250 there. The sign for the entranceway, I only spent $200 on a sign last year. This year I upgraded it and I spent $800, but I'm not putting that as an initial cost. We spent $200 on the first sign. We spent $100 on mentoring calls. We had a mentor help us. We did an hour session. It's a great idea if you're just starting out to have a mentor help you. This video can tell you what you need, but a mentor can really tell you the specifics of how everything runs. Our mentor was great. I'll link her in the description. Her name is Lori from 3 Acres. So thank you, Lori. Okay, so let's see. We need an outdoor sink for us because it's U-Pick Farm. So we needed water for people to fill up their buckets. We got that from Lowe's. Yeah. And you installed it?
Yeah, did it ourselves.
Some hardware, that was like $200. Did it ourselves again. A long hose for the sink was $60. A porta potty rental we needed because people were coming on was $350 for 3 months. We also needed insurance because we were having people on the property.
So it's about $1,000 for the year, maybe a bit less.
And we had to pay a lease. So if you don't have to pay a lease, then your cost will be a little bit less, so that's different. So yeah, I think, is that everything we had? There's probably still miscellaneous in there, but we're gonna tally it up now and you're gonna see. Why don't you guys guess how much you think it was? I'm gonna say when I thought about starting a flower farm, I thought maybe it would cost like $3,000. That would have been my guess, right?
10,000 or less would be mine.
See, and I was like, no, I could, listen, I'm like frugal, right? I go to the Facebook groups. I'm like, no, I could do it for less. But see, right away, you're like, well, you spent on a playground $1,200, so it's gotta be. So yeah, okay, let's tally it up. Okay, guys, so now when we had, I'm gonna tell you the grand total in 1 second, but when we had our call with our mentor, she said, when you're gonna start something like this, be ready to spend $10,000. And I thought like, oh, well, maybe that's like people who are spending like too much money. So I was like, we can get it done for maybe like 6 or something. So the grand total for us was $12,500 to start it in the first year. So it was a big expense. Now it was a U-Pick flower farm. There were a couple extra things, but yeah, if you take off, the playground, I wouldn't even say it was that much more. Like, you could take off a couple $1,000s, but you're still probably gonna be an $8,000 expense to start it, even if you took off those extras that we needed for being a business. So I would estimate, even if you were doing it the cheapest, you're still probably gonna spend like $6,000 at least to do it. So that is the cost for starting a flower farm. It was obviously worth it for us, and we love it. So let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. I don't think I left anything out, but let me know. And yeah, so that was the cost. We'll make another video at the end of the year on what it cost us in our second year. This was our second year, and we'll let you know if we profited this year or if not soon, because we're just tallying all that up. The season just closed, so we'll get the stats on that one for the next one. But thanks for joining us. Like and subscribe and check out our other videos. Have a good day.